Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's your old pal, Mr. Butter, coming back at you. The Kobe reverse Grinches dropped recently, and I'd like to get into them with y'all. I'd also like to discuss the one major problem I have with this shoe. If you're into kicks and you feel like hanging out, then hit that subscribe button. Let's take a look at these Kobe 6 Protros in the reverse Grinch colorway. So we've known for months that the reverse Grinch colorway of the Protro 6 was coming around the holidays, and ever since I first saw pictures of it, it was definitely on my list of shoes that I really wanted to grab. I knew that it was going to be difficult, and just to give you a little background, I have gone after the Grinch colorway I don't know how many times. I've gone after the restocks, I've gone for them for years, and I have never been able to hit a pair for retail. I've just taken L after L after L. I actually have two sneakers accounts. I have an old phone that I have an old sneakers account on, a newer phone that I have a sneakers account on, and then my wife has a sneakers account on her phone. Whenever there's a really big drop coming, I get all three phones in front of me and I try to go for them on all three phones. Well, because I've had such a hard time getting the original Grinch colorway, and I never brought myself to pay resale for it because prices always stayed really high and they just get higher and higher. Knowing how bad I always wanted the Grinch colorway and just how many times I have unsuccessfully tried to get them, I contacted everybody I could think of that might have the sneakers app. I even reached out to like my mother-in-law. I had my brother download the sneakers app on his phone, my cousin, but I had friends going after it, family going after it. Basically everybody that I could think of, I had them install the sneakers app onto their phone and go after them. Here's where we get to the biggest problem I have with this shoe. Altogether, I had 11 entries for a size 10.5 of the Kobe reverse Grinch. I never had exclusive access or whatever, but I know that's a shot in the dark. You don't always get that, fine, whatever. But out of 11 accounts, you would think I'd be able to get one pair of these shoes in my size. With 11 accounts going for them, I took 11 L's. To all the people that got them, I am happy for you. That's great. I'm really pumped that y'all got the W. But I have the hardest time getting Kobe's on my account. And that's part of why whenever I got the Halos earlier this year, that was such a big W to me. If you watch the channel, you probably realize I go after a lot of shoes. For the most part, I don't have that difficult of a time getting them, but it seems like for the Kobe Grinch, and then now this reverse Grinch, it just seems like it is impossible for me to get my size. So all that being said, you'll see I've just got an orange box here. That's because out of all of my entries, which I guess altogether I had 14 entries, because on my phone, I went for kid sizes as well. I went for a 6.5 on all three of my accounts, along with the adult sizes. And I was able to get one pair of size 6.5 grade school. So that's why you see that I've got this orange box. I was expecting that maybe the grade school pairs would come in the black box like we're used to seeing, but this is just a grade school box, so it's just orange. And here you can see Kobe 6 grade school. The colors are bright crimson and black. Like I said, this is a size 6.5. That's the same as a men's size 6.5. As soon as I opened these up and my son saw them, he said, I want those shoes. I said, buddy, they're too big for you right now. And he said, well, save them for me. I want those shoes. I have a bunch of kids in my family. If it's not my own kids, then I have a bunch of nephews that live right up the street. I know I'm probably going to have a lot of people that want these. I don't know how I'm going to decide who gets them. Maybe I will just wait until my son's big enough to fit into them and then he can play in them. But back to my biggest gripe. Nike knows what drops are going to be really sought after. They know what shoes they'd be able to sell infinite amounts of. They knew very well that people were going to be climbing over top of each other to try to get these pairs. I live in a pretty rural area. I'm not near a big city or anything. So as far as retailers for sneakers, I don't have many around. Really, I only have one around, and that's Finish Line. But for whatever reason, Finish Line and JD, they don't get Kobe's. I don't have any Foot Lockers near me. I don't have any stores that get Kobe's, so the only chance that I have of getting them is sneakers or else the different raffles that you can sign up for. And I did sign up for raffles, but not surprisingly, I didn't hit any of them either. So all that being said, my biggest gripe and my biggest problem with this shoe is that it's untouchable for the average guy. If I put in 11 entries for a shoe, and I'm not talking about a Travis Scott Jordan 1 or something like that, but if I'm putting in 11 entries for a pair of shoes, I would expect that at least one of them would be able to hit my size. If you got one of these pairs of shoes, congratulations to you. I mean, you really had to have luck on your side that day. I'm not salty to anybody that got them. My complaint is with Nike, because they knew that this was going to be sought after. They knew that the supply wasn't going to meet the demand. And I think it's a little bit dirty whenever they make far less than what the demand would justify. So I know that they do this so that products stay really hyped and so that they're not easy to get and so that the average person can't walk around with them. And I just think they should make them accessible. Make them like they made Panda Dunks now, you know, let everybody get them. So my plea to Nike is just next time you're going to do a drop that you know the masses are going to be going after like crazy, how about you double, triple, quadruple the stock that you're going to drop just so that average guys like me might have a chance in getting them. I cannot tell you how bad I want a pair of GRINCH Kobe Protro 6s or even the reverse GRINCH Protro 6s. But for one reason or another, it just hasn't been in my cards yet. Let's get to the kicks. All right, so I made a short about these, and in the short, I also mentioned the fact that I went for these on a whole bunch of accounts, and the only pair that I was able to get was a GS pair. And I also said on that short, now that I have these in hand, I feel a lot like my son did. Like, as soon as I saw these, I just thought, oh man, I really want these. And I know that there's not a whole lot of premium materials on here. It's not real high-end leather. You won't find any natural materials on here. They're pretty much all synthetic. But whenever you pick these things up, they are light as light can be, and you can really tell, just like the insoles say, like, I want a shoe that molds to my feet. You can tell that this is a shoe that really is meant to become like a part of you the more that you wear them. And they feel so light. I love these overlays that you have on the entire shoe that kind of look like snake skin. I think that is such a cool touch. I really like the neon green signature that you have on the back. And I'm a big fan of neon colors. Like, these things do look like they're glowing. They do look really bright. And I saw a lot of people saying like, oh, you can't wear them aside for on the court. However, I would wear these. I would throw some outfits together with these. And a lot of people might say, oh, that'd be crazy. But maybe I'm just a little bit crazy. I think these are absolute fire. And I would love the chance to rock my own pair of these. Right now, in my size, I think pairs of these are going for like $500. Altogether, I have 3 kids, a wife, a mortgage, a bunch of car payments, and that kind of stuff. I'm not going to pay $500 for a pair of these. The most I would pay for a pair of these is $300. Whenever I know there's a really hype pair of shoes that's going to be dropping that I most likely am not going to be able to get my hands on for retail, in my mind, I always set a price, and I tell myself, if I can get them for X amount of dollars, this is what I'll pay for them. But anything over that, and I just got to move on to the next one. I would pay $300 for a pair of these, but I would not pay a penny over that. And even that, I think, is stretching it a little bit. I don't recommend anybody puts themselves in debt to buy a pair of these for resale. And I really wish that there was no resale on these, because like I said in the beginning, I want a pair for myself. Like, I think these are really cool, and I'm really happy that I was able to get a grade school size pair. But at the same time, I am salty that out of 11 tries in my size, I came up empty. There is just something about this silhouette. The Kobe 6 has always been my favorite of his signature models, and I don't know if it's just all these overlays that give it such a cool texture. I don't know if it's the color combinations that they use or what, or even just the way that they feel in hand. I mean, it really feels like something from space whenever you hold these, just because they are so light, and you can tell that it's all just a nice foam that is going to mold to your feet very nicely. There's just something so iconic about the 6s, and I really want a pair of the Grinches or a pair of these reverse Grinches. So if they drop to 300, I'll get a pair in my size. If I come across a pair that somebody is selling for $300 in a size 10.5, I will grab that pair. But if I don't come across that deal anywhere, and right now looking at prices, it looks like I may not come across a pair for that cheap. If I don't find that, then I guess it's just on to the next one, and I'll just try next time. I would imagine that we'll see the original Grinch colorway of the Protro 6 drop again. I don't know how soon it will be, because we just saw them not too long ago, but I would still prefer to have the original Grinch colorway. But these are up there. These are just as bright, just as flashy, and just as cool to me. So although I would rather have the green pair, I'd settle for a pair of this. I wouldn't feel bad if I had to settle for that. But looking at the shoes, we have a standard Kobe 6 tread pattern. Again, it really looks like it's snake skin or something. There's no real rhyme or reason to it, but in the front, it's kind of a translucent neon red or crimson red, whatever they call that color. And whenever the light hits it, it really does glow. But then on the back, this color just kind of matches the upper, but it still has that traction pattern that looks like snake scales on it. And then, of course, you also get that sheath in the neon green, and that matches the laces. If you're familiar with Kobe's, then you've seen that emblem many a times. Then as we come up to the side of the shoe, we just have more of that crimson red foam, and it just feels really nice. It's pretty dense, but it also does have some give whenever you push on it. But I love all these varying shades of this nice neon red. I think they go together very well. And then as you come up from that, of course, the upper is kind of like a synthetic mesh material. It's really thin, and you can see the light through there. I don't know if I can get you a good angle or not, but you can really see the light pass through the side of the shoe. It's very breathable, and it's very, very lightweight. I think that these snake scales on the top, I think those overlays do serve a couple of purposes, because I think it gives the shoe more structure. I think that it kind of protects that really thin mesh that you have for that upper. And obviously they look really cool, but I do think that it adds some structure and protection to your foot, along with just looking really neat. If you notice on the back, this overlay kind of has like a mother of pearl tint to it. Like it almost looks like a car that has a mother of pearl paint job on it. And then after you notice that, whenever you look at these scale overlays, they kind of have that mother of pearl effect too. So I don't know if it's bright enough out here for y'all to see that at the moment, but it's got a really neat effect to it whenever you see it. Of course, you have this swoosh on the base of that mesh, and that shines through on both sides. I already mentioned I really like that contrasting neon green for Kobe's signature there. I think that's really cool looking. And these Protro 6s have like a hard plastic heel anchor or a heel clip, and that really just helps the shoe hold on to your foot. The base of the tongue is just a really nice mesh, and whenever you feel that from the inside, you can tell that it's got really big holes on it, like it's a really big knit, and it's just a bunch of different meshes like laid over top of each other, and they all have varying size holes in them. So it's a very breathable shoe. At the top, it's like a neoprene, and it almost feels like it has like a memory foam inside of it. And you also feel that in the sock liner up here around the collar. It's just very soft, very padded, and at the same time, it really does feel like it's going to form to your foot quite well. These came with contrasting laces. I don't think any pair came with spare sets of laces in this release. I think the only laces that you got with these shoes are these neon green ones, but I really like that contrast. I think it looks great, so I wouldn't swap it. I did see people that put black laces in theirs, and that looked pretty good too. At the top of this tongue, you have that sheath again, and of course that's in that neon green to contrast. And again, I really like those hits. Just like we've seen on other Kobe 6s, it says, I want a shoe that molds to my feet. And the colors down on the insole are the same colors that you have up here on the upper. So again, congratulations to anybody that was able to get these in their size, or if you went for an adult size for somebody else and you got them, congrats on that. I just had a feeling that I wasn't going to get a pair, and sure enough, that came to be. But anyhow, I think they're great. I think seeing them in hand makes me want them even more. But like I said, for me, the most that I would spend on these is $300, and if I can't get them for that, then I'm just going to have to move on to the next one. I don't need these to survive. I got plenty of cool looking shoes. I do really want a pair of these, and I do really want the Grinches, but I'm not going to lose sleep over it. Like, these shoes are not going to keep my family's bellies full. They're not going to pay the bills for my house or my truck or anything. They're not going to put my kids through college. I do think it's important to be realistic, and although it is frustrating not to get shoes like this whenever you really want them, it's not a big deal. And at the end of the day, as long as you're happy and healthy, I mean, shoes are just shoes. They make new shoes every day, and there's going to be a whole lot more dropping next year. But I really do hope that Nike ups the production of Kobe's. From what I've been hearing, it sounds like they're going to up the numbers next year, and I really hope that's true, because I know a lot of people that really wanted these shoes for the personal collection weren't able to get them, and if they're like me, they're not going to be able to spend $500 resale on them. But all that being said, I think they're really cool looking. There's nothing else like them, and congrats again to anybody that was able to get them for retail. Let me know if you were able to get a pair. Let me know what you think about them, and I appreciate you all watching. I will catch you on the next one. I'm out.